All right, I just want to let you know that I put a new summary of the Pizzagate, Pedogate documentary. It's about a 6-hour documentary by Titus Frost. And so after I went ahead and added that to the book and then added the book to all the links so that everybody has access to it, whoever's, I've reached with that book, which I've reached quite a few people with the book. Immediately afterwards, as soon as I started getting the book uploaded, they started to assault me. And then once I got it uploaded to all of them, then they really fucking started assaulting me, which I kind of thought that would happen. And so, but anyways, I know that it would probably be beneficial for you to know that. And so it got pretty fucked up, you know what I mean? It was all the way to the point of threatening kids and making me feel like people are listening and that they can hear it in my voice. And so I can usually check out of, because the government has threatened so many people in my life that over time I've gotten used to the thought of, well, so they'll be dead and that's the end of it. You know what I mean? And then that'll be life and I'll move on, Not even that I'll move on, just I won't be affected by it. You know what I mean? Just eventually I got like that. Took a long time probably to really get like that, but yeah, at this point that's what I'm like. Well, the thing is with the aliens is that you're not going to escape it, you know what I mean, with them, and they can make you, suffer with things, you know what I mean? And so that's going on. As well, they're troubling me quite a bit with, I've realized that probably the next president is going to be Sam Hyde, which, so that, that's what it's talking about in the Bible when it talks about somebody wearing a robe dipped in blood. That goes back to the story of Joseph and his 11 brothers, and they threw him down a well, and then they took the robe that his father had given him. They didn't get a robe, but he did, and they gave that robe to the father dipped in blood as evidence that he was dead. Just because it bothered them so much that he told them that he had a dream where they would bow to him, essentially. That they said, oh, so now you're over us? Okay, so their recourse was to kill him by, throwing him down a well. Well, he didn't die. He went on to rule over Egypt. And so the way that I interpret the literature is that probably sometime before any of that happens, I'll already have control of the government. And essentially, I don't want to be the president because I'm going to give you a new constitution. And then the way that Psalm 2 is written is just that I'll have control over the presidents and the judges, the judiciary, which that's all I need, you know what I mean? And then once they get the new constitution, they'll have to go by that framework. And then anything big that comes up, I'll be able to catch it. But I don't want to sit there and meticulously, look through thousands of pages of documentation or anything like that, So, but the thing with Sam Hyde is that whenever I sent him, I related to them as they told me, this person's going to be he's going to be a disciple, they're going to be a disciple. So I started to relate to them as they told me. And then once it involved not only him, but some of his counterparts, then something changed in him about the whole situation as I interpreted it. And then within a couple of days, then he was making a comment that, God damn, y'all, don't get all wound up when you're watching me over surveillance stuff, because I feel that. I know you want to hear this, but don't get all toxic, because then I feel it. You're lost. You're trash. Anyways, the point of the story is that within a couple of days, or maybe even immediately, then I said something to him, or no, he said that he was talking about this Jack Black cover band, and he said that the lead singer of the band was probably somebody who told all of his other bandmates, hey, I run this band, you don't run this band, I run this band. That's a crazy thing to say. Where do you even come up with that? And he was saying he just knew that he was like that. You know what I mean? Well, he wasn't actually thinking about that. He was thinking about how much he hated me because, well, it probably invokes comparisons, you know what I mean? And so he's telling himself, well, there's not really a big difference between you and me. The only difference is that you knew that stuff before I did, and you knew about things that I didn't know about, and that's why you're in the position you're in, and I'm in the position that I'm in, and and just, you know, diametrically opposed to that notion, you know. So, but you know, maybe that's true. Maybe the biggest difference is that I knew things before he did. You know, that one of the things is they talk to him about, you know, having a rod of iron, and they've made comparisons between me and him. You know, I made them before that, but they, you know, basically wanted that verbalized at some point. And you know, he does think a lot like me. You know, in terms of just his ability to problem solve, and not problem solve, but just he comes to conclusions very fast. You know what I mean? And so when he has information, then he can make use of it inside of his head pretty easily, in ways that you just really won't find that anywhere. And but you know, he's similar to me in that effect. I'm like that. Sometimes I think he might be more like that than me. But you know, the point of the story is he may not be. I'm pretty good at that kind of stuff. But the point of the story is just, you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I'm Jesus Christ. Okay, so he needs to get on board with that. You know what I mean? There's not a big difference between you and me and that kind of thing. There's a big difference between you and me. Okay, there's a big difference between me and everybody. Okay? We all have to accept that. And then there's another person who's going to be Jesus Christ too, and not quite as much of a Jesus Christ. I don't know but that's what they said. Or a little bit of a Jesus Christ. So then there's that person. Okay, so we're Jesus Christ, and that's a big difference. Okay, a big fucking difference. And so, but either way, it's become a problem, and I've caught him hacking my phone. You know what I mean? And then he wants to throw it in my fucking face and shit, and he's just out. I don't know what his agenda is, but you know, the whole problem is just, you know, they bring up Sam Hyde. I'm just like, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even like Sam Hyde. I don't want nothing to do with fucking Sam Hyde, period. I want him out of my fucking life, and I want him out of all that shit, so I don't even have to fucking deal with him. Okay? So that's the fucking difference between, you know, what you might suspect as our relationship and what it really is. Okay? Or what it's gonna be. It's not like a loving relationship or something. You know, I'm stuck with this fucking person. And I just, you know, that's a malicious person. So, but either way, you know, I wouldn't make a big deal about that, because I've got plenty of people stalking me and shit, and that's not a focal point for me in life, like what you may take out of what I'm saying. No, I'm saying this because they take and twist the fucking knife. You know what I mean? And it's always, well, Sam, you know, just the way that they go about it, it's like that disgusted notion they prey on, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's like, you know, it's just making out like, well, you couldn't, you're not need, you're not needed. You know what I mean? That's just one of the ways they go. It's really, oh my God, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, I guess disingenuous, you know what I mean? Just to contribute so fucking much, and then just prey on that, any kind of like, install that feeling in my head, prey on it, you know what I mean? You're not needed. Oh God, I can't even explain it. Just so offensive, you know what I mean? Just, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just something about it. I can't even fucking explain it. I don't even know what it is, you know? Just, and that's, just like, I've told him, it's like, okay, fine. You know what I mean? Then do it without me. You know what I mean? Okay? Fine. If I'm not needed, then fuck it. Okay, and then they started trying to, you know, suck up to me and shit. It's not like that. And giving me, like, they can put feelings into me, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Just these people can't measure up to you, and that's what's in his head. You crush him with something like that just to say that, you know what I mean? It just, if not like just anything, but just flaunting shit in his face, you know what I mean? Like that would crush him, you know what I mean? Not crush him, but it would work against his head. And making me feel that, you know what I mean? And just, that's more, well, you may just be picking up on that on your own, but the timing of it is like, no, you're trying to bring me out of that. Because, no, it's not like that. You know what I mean? It's not like, it's not like, it's not like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? We're just going to let you believe that, and then, okay, well, no, yeah, we're going to lose that asset. You know what I mean? No, they can't do that. Okay?